So I'm looking for some more reference photos. And I came to a place called Palmer Park. But I couldn't find it at first. Although I thought I knew where it was. Then I looked on my Google Maps and found it. But the sign on the road is gone. So they must have changed the name or done something to change it. Let me turn the camera around and show you something. So this is the pond. Maybe I'll get some good pictures anyway, even if the name is changed. But I wanted to show you some things. There's a person walking a dog. This is definitely some good reference photos right here. All those trees have that wintry look for Florida, you know, because there's no leaves on there, well, very few leaves on the trees. All Spanish moss is basically all that's left. But there's a bird flying away. Look at that. There's a picture right there, right? So I want to show you something just to document it, I guess. So this rock over here used to have a plaque on it, and the plaque explained why the park was called Palmer Park. But the plaque, you can see, has been removed. So somebody must have decided to change the name of the park. But it's still worth a little visit. You get some reference photos. That's a nice, look at that blue sky. That looks real nice. Let's see. It's a residential area really all around the whole park. There's the man with his dog. Walk to the other side of this fence here. I'm getting over a cold. Hopefully I'm getting over it. Robin is at home. She stayed in bed. She's got it worse than me. That guy's going fishing over there. I kind of like this with the tree in the foreground. Kind of like that look too. A tree in the foreground, trees in the background. Look at those ducks swimming over there. It's a young man fishing. Young man catching fish. There's the ducks in the water. That's a good shot right there. Young man fishing. It's a nice day. That's pretty too right there. All right, well, I think that's, oh, it's a little boy with the young man now. That's even better. Oh, okay, I think I'll walk back to my car now. Okay, so it's a very limited palette today because I chose to do the ducks. Just 2 ducks in the water. I thought that would represent what I experienced yesterday at Palmer Park, and so that's what I'll do. Now I'm going to use gouache, and I'm using Payne's gray, titanium white, burnt umber, and cerulean blue. And here's my white, my Payne's gray, my blue, and my burnt umber or brown. So So let's see if that's all I need. I hope it's all I need. And I'll keep these handy so I don't forget where I put them, in case I need more. And I just might need more. Now the black duck, I'm going to set them a little bit off from where they are in the photograph. In the photograph, they're kind of almost lined up. I think I want one more to the left and the other one more to the right. And that's other than that, I think I'll just keep it the way it is. So I guess the first thing I really should do is paint the water, the blue. It's probably not as easy as it looks, right? It looks like easy. It looks like it should be easy, right? Just blue everywhere. And then I'll paint the ducks over it because this is gouache. I can paint over it. So, all right, lots of different shades here of the blue. I think the blue is lighter up here in this corner. And I'll go ahead and do the watercolor-ish thing. And it looks like it's lighter over in this corner. And then it gets darker toward the bottom. And since I'm using Payne's gray, which has blue in it, I can probably get away with adding some Payne's gray to darken it. So I think I'm just gonna, I'm just experimenting here, just so you know. I have not done this before. In a way, I'm really glad I chose this subject because, you know, I was tempted to do another, trees in the background, trees in the foreground, kind of a painting. But, my instinct was to just do something that represented my visit to the park. And I think the ducks really do that. However, I also feel that I am not challenging myself enough if I just do the grass, and because I've done grass and trees so frequently, All right, let's get some more white in there, and then we can add the little ripples and the little texture to the water, and then the ducks. So I guess I'll put the water first, and I'll just do the ducks on top of it. I could sketch them in first. I could do that. There is no wrong way or right way. I really think this is the truth about your approach to whatever art you're doing. So I'll talk about art a little bit, and I'll talk about Palmer Park a little bit. So let me tell you a little bit about the park itself. I went there with Robin in 2022. I know that because I just watched part of a video that we made for our other channel before I was doing Poppa Paints, which I love the Poppa Paints channel. But the other channel I love also, it's called The World Spins Fine on Her Own. And the whole idea of that was just because Robin and I had retired from radio, and we felt like the world we didn't broadcast to the world, but we did radio, for those who don't know. And I just felt like the world didn't really need us to be commenting on the world anymore, because that's basically what we did. We had a talk show and we commented on the world. We had guests who were authors and actors and elected officials, and you get the picture. You know how talk shows go. And we tried to not be too political, or our guests were, but we tried not to be. There's some things you can't avoid having an opinion on, but more or less we were just trying to be hosts and having a good time. We approached our show more like Johnny Carson than like Rush Limbaugh, okay? Just so you know, even though it was radio. I have no offense against Rush. I used to like listening to him, and I used to like listening to a lot of Anyway, I went on a track right there. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so that's why we did The World Spins Fine on Her Own. That's why it's called that, is because we felt like the world didn't really need our opinions. The world was doing pretty good without us. And so we retired from radio and just enjoyed walking and going places and basically showing our backyard. Florida. We were doing a lot of that, showing Florida. And in June of 2022, one of the places we visited was Polly Palmer Park, the park that I went to yesterday. And I just looked at a little bit of it, and the first thing that came to mind was how less out of breath I was. So it's more of an observation of myself. How more, I don't know, should I say the word healthy? How healthier I sounded. I don't know what 2.5 years has taken a toll on me, maybe. But that could also be because I have a cold. I don't know. But as far as the park goes, the park was more like maintained when we went there 2.5 years ago. It had a lot of I don't know, it was just better looking, it was more maintained. So 2.5 years. And there were signs that said Polly Palmer Park, and there was a plaque on that rock that I showed you where you could see where the plaque was missing. And that plaque explained who Polly Palmer was, or at least a dedication to her in regards to the park. So, I'm not sure what the story is. I looked online to see if anybody had written anything about why Polly Palmer Park was no longer labeled as such, and I didn't find anything. And I didn't really do any deep research. I could probably call the city or write to the city. It's a city park, so they maintain it. The Parks Department, Parks and Recreation. But anyway, so all I'm doing now is just trying to get a very, very, very rough idea here of the blues in this water. They go from light up here, actually go from light with dark areas, and then dark with darker areas, and then some light, dark with light areas. It's the ripples of the water, all over the place. So, and then of course the ducks. So I'll have to get the ducks in there too. Of course. Let's just hope I can do this. I did challenge myself with this, even though it looks like a simple picture. I feel like it is a challenge. And right now, it's a very abstract. This is the kind of art I see in my doctor's office, by the way. This is this is what my doctor has. Just canvases, large canvases painted like this. I'm not kidding. I often think, why do I spend so much time on paintings when the paintings that sell are abstract? Why? Why do I worry about making a nice painting when the stuff that really sells, well, no offense to abstract artists, yours is nice too. But, from my point of view, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but it looks like some of the stuff in my doctor's office looks like this. Yes, it does. So, for whatever it's worth. Yeah, I heard somebody referring to Salvador Dali as an abstract artist. Salvador Dali, in my mind, was not abstract. He was a surrealist, surreal. Everything was surreal. It looked real, but it wasn't real. Not everything, though, but a lot of what he did was surreal. I don't know how he felt about the labels. Most of the time, artists don't really have an idea about the labels of their own art. So, all right, duck number one, and then I'll worry about the ripples after I get the ducks in, I think. I think that's going to be my method. There's a duck's tail. A little bit bigger than that. Just paint it in. There's a lot of ducks in the waters around here. Do you have ducks? I feel like ducks are everywhere. Right? I've seen ducks everywhere. Everywhere I go, man, I see ducks everywhere. I see ducks. There we go. I guess that's the basic duck. The basic duck body. Now let's get a little curve here. Bring up that neck. Alright, that's good, and I'll use a different brush for his face. I just want to get this all here. So now his reflection is basically just the same thing I just did, upside down. Just the upside down duck. Because there's not just a reflection, there's also a shadow happening at the same time. I'll get all this. Alright, but right now I use a different brush for that. And then for the let me get that part done first. Smaller brush. That one might work. Let's see if I can do it with that one. Ducks are kind of cool and cute. They're like dogs. They beg for food. They almost bark like a dog too when they come up to you. They tell you not to feed the ducks bread. And all my life I always fed ducks bread. But now I don't, because I read someplace that ducks, like bread is not good for them. But I never knew that as a kid. But now they say feed them peas. You ever hear that? Bring green peas. So I don't know. I should look it up. I should look up. What do you feed wild ducks? Yeah, so you have the reflection. There he is, and there he is. There he is twice. There's one and two. Two ducks. Upside down duck. Alright, that's just the beginning of it. Don't panic. Don't panic. Now for the other duck, let me just clean this brush. I think I'll do the other duck completely in light brown. Or maybe I'll just start with brown and put the other duck right here. Give him brown, not too Payne's gray. So there we go. There's his tail. And this duck has, you can see that goes up there and it goes this way. Yeah, there's a little tiny beak right there. Cute little beak. Yeah, there we go. Wrap it around here. Bring it up to the back. Bring it up to the tail feathers, baby. Shake your tail feathers, baby. Alright, now let's get some of this reflection here. He's not exactly completely, because of the angle, he's not completely identical in his reflection. Not completely. There we go. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna get the other one a little bit thicker neck. I think the other one has a little bit thicker neck. Here we go. All right, let me clean the brush. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you for waiting for me. I turned the camera off so you didn't have to wait. All right, now let's add some more color to this brown one, especially. The brown one has a lot of light brown in it, so I'm going to take the white and the burnt umber, and I'm going to try to do it. Let's see. There's just a few areas on the duck. Just a few. That are dark. They're still dark, but they're light in nature. And then I'll use the lighter light on the duck. I just want some dark light, if that makes sense. Dark light. I have my own vocabulary, I think. I make up my own words. Dark light, my own colors. What color is that? It's dark light brown. This is why I'm not a good teacher. That explains it right there. What color are you using? I'm using dark light brown. I'm using red. I never really say the right color. I always say red or brown. I don't know. I should know, but I mean, it's written right on the tube, so it shouldn't be that hard for me, right? I don't know. I was watching something yesterday, and it was an art thing, and the artist was saying, limit yourself and see what you can do with just a few things. I agree. That is true. Limit yourself, see what you can do with just a few things. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm putting this dark light brown here in different places on this particular duck, because this particular duck has a lot of that dark light brown going on. And now I think it's time to go to the light brown and put some areas. It's a little bit right here. And right, if I can make it right here, then I can put a black dot in the middle to represent his eye. Right there in the tip of his beak, it's got a nice white spot. And let's see, a couple of areas over here, a bit lighter. So a little bit of a line right there, where the light's hitting it, I think. tip of his tail. It's pretty white. It's very white right there. And that kind of carries all the way up around his back. Yeah, like that. You can work it a little bit like oil or like acrylic. Just a little bit. It'll still act with the gouache beneath it. That's the one thing it does, is it acts with the gouache. So you have to be careful. If you just do it lightly, and then don't worry about it. If you don't get it the first time, you can go back and get it the second time. We'll put some of these colors into the water also. Alright, now let's go back up here to the front of the bird. I still feel like he's got a brighter spot right there. And around his eye. And right in the front. Yeah, when I watched the video from 2.5 years ago, my first thing I noticed was how less out of breath I was. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old, and I acknowledge it, I just don't realize it. Does that make sense? I acknowledge it, but I don't realize it. Hey, have fun while you can. Apparently it doesn't last forever. Apparently. Alright, well there's that duck. Now the other duck also has some light colors on it. Right on the tip of his beak. He's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of a marking on his one feather here. Not much, just a little bit. Yeah. And then, of course, there'll be the reflection. And his reflection also. And this guy over here, I'm going to try to do something with, like his eye. Yeah, I think we got an eye right there. Alright, I think we got our two ducks. We have our ducks. But they're not in a row. Now I have to make the water look like water. So, let's see how I do. I'm going to take a little tiny brush and make a little tiny spot in that one duck's eye. Let's see if I can make it look dark. There it is. I guess that's good enough. There we go. Now we got the task of making that water look like water. Oh boy. Can I do it? Can I pull this off? Let me just think about this for a second here. which brush would be good for this. I'm not really sure. So I'm just gonna start with this one. Okay. So there's a lot of circles from where the water ripples. Little areas that ripple. Way out in the okay, then these tiny little ripples, I guess. I hope I don't mess it up too bad. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing it right or not. I'll just keep working it. Looks like the little ripples go in circles from the ducks. The wind and the ducks are the only things making the water ripple at all, so I'll just keep doing it. Just keep adding more ripples. to keep it very subtle, the color difference. The whites are going to be a lot important here. Let's go for the whites now, see how this works out. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it done. Hey, it looks like ducks in the water, right? That's what I wanted to accomplish, ducks in the water. At Palmer Park, or maybe the former park, the park formerly known as Palmer Park. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up now. And it's the 29th day of December. It's Sunday. The year's almost over. But I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.